Jeez. I hate people. I hate people. This is why they're the worst. Are you ready for it? All right. Who's ready to get bummed out?
I'm nervous.
About what?
You already warned me last time that it's going to be about a kid, and now I'm sweating.
Oh, yeah, you should be. I'm just kidding. I mean, sure, yes, it's very sad.
Okay.
Lots of, hold on to your freaking hat because there's a lot going on.
Okay.
Should I just jump right in, or are we anything to discuss? Or, well, actually, I do have a bone to pick with people.
Oh, okay.
Just in general.
Yes.
Well, I was listening to a Let's Not Meet, and if you listeners don't listen to it, it's a good podcast. It's just about like close call stories, and I've heard a lot lately. For instance, there's these two little girls who are about 10 years old, and they're in their little small town, and they're getting ice cream while their mom and grandmother are shopping at a little boutique. So they're like, just run and go get ice cream. So they go and run and get ice cream. And in this little town square, there's a camper that they see, and they're hear this yelling, a man yelling, woman yelling. The camper's actually rocking. And at first, at 10 years old, they got a little dirty mad and was like, ooh, boats of rocking. Knocking. I'm like, oh my God, are they doing it? Blah. But then all of a sudden, this woman goes quiet. Like, hears like strangle, like they imagine now as an adult she was being strangled, and it goes silent and stops rocking. And this guy comes out, looks at them. They're in shock with their little ice cream cones. And he says, what are you bitches looking at? You want to be next? And he gets back, he smokes a cig, and he gets back in their car and drives off, and they haul ass to their parents.
I know where this is going.
Mom told her everything what happened, freaking out, crying. And they're like, what a quite an imagination y'all have. Come on, that didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. And she said that she spent the next like few years pretending that she was doing a book report and secretly Googling like if that woman ever was in the news or anything for like years.
Oh my God.
Like, they've never talked about it, but she always thinks about it. She's like so she never brought it up to her mom. And I like almost, because he says who reached out to him on Reddit to tell that story, and he said her username. And I tried to look for her to message her and be like, no, will you bring it up to your mom though and shame her? Because they didn't not believe you. They just didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to involve themselves.
Well, or if they didn't believe you, they would believe you now as an adult to be like, we didn't actually make that up.
No, they believed them. They're crying. It's too specific. Weren't actually like, oh, y'all have quite the imagination. Actually, she did say her grandmother said, you need to mind your business. And I'm like, oh, God. So they just didn't want to involve themselves.
Yeah.
But I've heard those stories a lot, and it has irritated the hell out of me. I'm like, will you shame your mom and grandmother if she's still with us a little bit, please? God, it just irritates me. I'm like, and she ends it, she's like, I just cannot believe they didn't believe us. And I'm like, no, they did. Rest assured, they did. They did.
They just didn't want to deal with this whatsoever. Bummer.
I know. I've heard a lot of those stories lately, and I'm like, oh my God, please. You're not going to get in trouble for just calling 911 being, my girl saw something. Just go check it out.
Right.
Ugh.
I mean,
so that was really, it irked me. I heard it today, and it irked me enough for that to be a topic.
I get that. I actually was going to say I'm not emotionally prepared to hear whatever story you're about to tell me. But then it just reminded me I wasn't emotionally prepared for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills premiere. Did you watch it?
Yeah, but I was kind of distracted. Why?
I was like,
oh my God, me too. The home invasion.
Yes. I kind of forgot
my God.
that happened until obviously like the first 5 seconds of the episode. And then when they started getting into it, like I had to split that episode into a couple of days because I was like, I don't know why. I was like,
oh, me too. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was. I don't know. Yes, I was fully focused on it. I don't know what I was distracted in. But yeah, that episode, yes, saw it, and I was sobbing, especially when she thought that they were going to kill her kid. Ugh.
Oh my God. And it just, like, it showed him like a couple hours earlier, just like playing in the backyard or doing karate in the backyard or whatever. Like, I was just like, I'm I've like forgot about this. I was getting ready. I was like about to start watching it, being like, I know I'm going to be pissed at Erica Jane.
Oh, God.
She's like hard to watch.
Well,
And then I forgot that like this is like the real storyline of the episode 1. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this home invasion. It's horrifying.
It's horrifying. And did you cry the hardest when she saw PK? That's when I cried the hardest.
No.
For some reason. Oh.
I did when she was just talking about it, her kids in the confessional. I was like, like so committed to this. I was like nervous with the PK scene. Like I was like, y'all need to go. Like y'all don't need to be doing this on camera. Like,
that's what I thought too.
So stressed out.
But then at the end of the day, she doesn't care who it's in front of. But I was like, you're gonna just walk into a house full of people seeing your wife for the first time after that home and oof.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I mean, I got over that real quick.
Yeah.
She just like ran to him, and it was oh God.
Yeah.
And then Sutton was a little sensitive about it.
Like also hard to watch.
I know.
I was like, oh my God. Whatever their issue was, like dealing with getting something for her store delivered or something. I was like, that's
well,
not
putting things
problem.
into perspective, that's not really a fire drill. Because she says, I've been having fire drills all day too. Or whatever.
Putting out fires, yeah. I was like, that's...
Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal to me. Right? I know, but literally no one else. So
right. So you're not getting my sympathy today. Try me in a month.
Yeah. On a more infuriating note, Erica Jane, I just can't with her. She used to be my favorite. Such a bummer.
I know. I really loved her. Yeah, she's the real victim here.
I've never seen someone with so a lack of remorse, whether you knew or not, she just doesn't give a shit. And the way she talked to that producer, I was like, you know, this is your paycheck now.
Right. And even Andy Cohen in that, in their last reunion was like, well, I know what you make and you're not hurting without Tom. Like, you're fine.
Right. But keep talking to people like that. Get fired.
Right.
She's just like, even if you didn't know, which I'm really on the fence about, about the whole, you know, shenanigans that Tom, quote unquote, solo, without her knowing, did.
Yeah.
Just no remorse whatsoever. Even to be like, I was duped too. I had no idea. I just thought we had a lot of money. I would have never knowingly taken money from like. There's no.
Yeah,
she's never said less.
No, yeah, she's never said. She's never really addressed the victims, from what I've seen. Like,
that's why I think the whole thing's a ploy. The divorce, all that. Like, what attorney in their right mind with this big of an investigation would be like, sure, you can go on a reality show? And she's like, just an open book.
Yeah.
And ask her any question. She very rarely says, I can't discuss that. I see right through it.
Mm-hmm. I think all big publicity, or
I think it's all a big plan.
Yeah, not publicity because it's negative publicity, but
right. No, I just think that they caught wind it was coming. They're all lawyers. Tom and Erica all got together and were like, "Here's what we're going to do. You're filing for divorce. You're going back on that show, and you're painting a picture of like Tom has been deteriorating for years."
Mm-hmm.
I did not invent,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't invent this theory. This has always been out there. I just very much believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's important. So thanks, everyone. See you next week. I could do a full episode on that.
Oh my God, easily. But just everyone watch The Housewife and The Hustler, and
there
you go.
Yeah. Then we can all talk about it.
Oh my God.
It's a great documentary. All right, you ready for it? Ready to be bummed out?
Sure.
Okay.
What are you telling me about?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it's like something that I dread, and it's making me sweat about a kid.
No,
but I don't know like the name.
It's a story about Nyleen Marshall. Nyleen K. Marshall.
Oh, okay. I'm overdoing it. Okay, sorry. Go.
All right. So my sources were Explore With Us on YouTube channel, Morbidology, Grunge, Wikipedia, Ranker, everything.
Damn.
All right, so Nancy and Bill Briscoe were married and had a son, Nathan, and then a daughter, Nyleen. But they divorced shortly after Nyleen was born in 1978. Nancy remarried a man named Kim Marshall, Kim, Cam, who adopted Nyleen and Nathan. And then 3 years later, they had a child together, Noreen. Nathan, Noreen, Nyleen. So it all ends, end themed. So in June 1983 in Helena, Montana, Nyleen Marshall's 4 years old at this point. And just to give you a little vision, she looks like a young Gabby Hoffman. Like if you watch Uncle Buck, the little girl in that, or Now and Then, where she's obviously a teenager there. She's adorable. Little
Uncle
brown hair.
Buck.
Yeah. Brown hair, brown eyes, cute little girl. So the family was at a picnic with a ton of their friends in the Elkhorn Mountains, which is in Helena's National Forest. Nyleen was playing with some kids at the beaver dams, but she got tired and sat down while the other kids walked ahead of her. After a few minutes of playing, they walked back and Nyleen was gone. So they went back to their parents, just expecting that she had walked back already. And the Marshalls asked where Nyleen was. And when they said they didn't know, all the adults jumped into action and started looking for her. They initially thought she was just lost because the part of the mountains that they're in were so remote and the only people there were friends. So they weren't worried about a kidnapping at this point. But they did call the police after no one could find her after a while. Heavy rain began falling on Sunday afternoon, and the police grew more concerned about nighttime temperatures dropping in the 40s. So unless she managed to find some kind of shelter, Nyleen wouldn't be able to survive very long. Again, this is assuming she's lost. But a few children came forward with separate but identical stories about a man wearing a purple tracksuit who was talking to Nyleen, which a purple tracksuit might as well be a clown suit.
Oh my God. What year is this?
1983.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sure it's not as weird then. In one account, 2 girls walked by them and heard Nyleen say, "I bet my brother can run faster than you." And then a boy said he saw them playing the shadow game, which is essentially when someone follows the other person's shadow, kind of like follow the leader. So like you can imagine what creepy ass conversations he's having, like trying to probably race her, like the whole "my brother can run faster than you." Yeah. I don't know. Or like, follow my shadow. Ugh.
Gross.
Ew. So gross. So they now treated this as an abduction, and over the next 10 days, they searched the campgrounds extensively. Hundreds of volunteers walked shoulder to shoulder, combing the forest. They brought cadaver dogs who followed her scent for a while, but eventually lost it. Divers to search in the water, and they searched the abandoned mine shafts and even had helicopters with thermal video. Nothing. The police did say that it's possible that with all the volunteers, they probably compromised potential evidence. And they wish that they had been able to search before anyone else. But, I mean, that's just unrealistic. The adults jumped into action, let's face it.
Yeah.
So, based on the children's description of the man in purple, a composite sketch was drawn up, and it eerily resembled several criminals. One who was wanted for child molesting and grand larceny in another state. Another man wanted in connection with child pornography. And another man wanted in connection with a child abduction and murder. Kim and Nancy did everything they could to keep her name in the public eye. They had flyers that were sent across the country with her missing poster on it. They put her face on milk cartons, which was very common back then. And several leads came in from this. People said they saw her in California, Wisconsin, Nashville, New Orleans, everywhere. But each lead led to another dead end. It was several months after Nyleen went missing, and her siblings were having a very hard time adapting to life without her. Her 6-year-old brother, Nathan, told his mom that his heart felt like it wanted to cry. Nancy recalled one afternoon that she looked outside the kitchen window and saw Nathan pushing an empty swing.
Stop.
I got a little teary there. Sad.
That is really sad.
She said afterwards he walked over to Nyleen's tricycle lightly. Oh my God, sorry.
Oh my God.
It's just sad.
No, it's very sad.
Yeah. All right. She said that afterwards he walked over to Nyleen's tricycle, lightly touched the seat, and walked inside saying, "I really miss Nyleen and I want to play with her." And he often would ask if they would ever find her, which, what do you tell your child when he asks that? It's just so sad.
Oh my God. I can't.
The position she's in. And I bet she just wanted to go in her room and be in a dark hole after that poor question.
Oh no.
Nyleen's sister, Noreen, was only 22 months old when she went missing, and Nancy said that Noreen couldn't sleep or eat for weeks. And apparently the two of them loved playing with their dolls in their room, but Noreen refused to touch them after her disappearance.
God bless.
I know. How do you comfort your other 2 children when you're mourning? Oh, God. Ugh.
Yeah.
Can't.
Mm-mm.
Oh, missing kids really get me. In November of 1985, this is 2 years after she went missing, a man called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and claimed that he had Nyleen with him, and he hung up. The police were able to trace the call back to a payphone in Edgerton, Wisconsin, but the man was never identified. And apparently, Kim and Nancy also received a few phone calls from the same man, allegedly the same man. But again, it went nowhere.
God.
In January 1986, an anonymous person sent Child Find, a New York-based missing children's organization, a typewritten letter saying he had picked up a girl named Kay, that's her middle name, on a road in Elkhorn Park between Helena and Boulder. And he had decided to take her home with him. The letter was postmarked at Madison, Wisconsin, 30 miles northwest of Edgerton, where that call came in, and included details about Nyleen's case that had not been released to the general public. The full letter has never been released, but there is an excerpt. And I do want to warn you, there's a trigger warning on one part in particular is more disturbing than the rest.
Are you going to read it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
I picked Kay up in the Elkhorn Park area between Helena and Boulder. She was crying and frightened, and as I held her, she was shaking, and I decided that I wanted to keep her and love her. I took her home with me. I have a nice investment income, and I can work from home, so I care for her myself all the time. I teach her at home, and she likes to go with me when I travel. She would gladly recount to you the trips to San Francisco, New York, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Nashville, Chicago, Puerto Rico, and Canada. We were even in Britain for a month last year, and she loved it. Nobody questions passports. Her hair is short and curly now, and she's really grown. She's about 45 inches and 50 pounds. She has all 4 of her permanent uppers and 2 of her lower incisors. She takes a bath and brushes her teeth every day. I give her medicine from the bathroom every morning. It's actually a spoonful of my semen. It doesn't affect her physically. I have never molested her in any other way. She's a sweet little girl, and it is because of how much I've grown to love her that I realize how much her family must miss her. But she's adjusted and now seems happy. She trusts me and isn't afraid. We play a lot. She laughs when we clown around. She smiles and acts coy when I tease her. She giggles when we snuggle and hugs me sometimes for no apparent reason. I love her and I have her. I just can't let her go. Fuck her.
Not going to be able to sleep, but yes, what a fucker. Ew.
Disgusting. So, but when I said before that leads came in from all over the country, this gave a little credit to the letter. And those sightings that all came in could have been real if the abductor was telling the truth, but he was also never identified. And for all we know, it was a sick prank. And it happens. People are obviously the effing worst. And I mean, this happened. Remember, it reminded me of how many twists and turns like the Twitties went and looking for Natalie.
Yeah.
And remember that like one creep who said, like, if I have a technology that if I have a piece of her hair from her brush that my machine can detect hair that's under the ground, what's something.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. There was like a lot of weird bullshit.
Yeah. And then that guy just took her hairbrush and ran.
Yeah.
Just assholes out there. And there are a lot of falsos, but no, I mean, not all wishing ill. I mean, not all are intended for ill will. Some people just, that kind of looks like her. I want to report it. That's from the goodness of their heart, but it's,
wait, but that letter, they said there was details that the public didn't know and they never traced who sent that.
No.
Oh my God.
The full letter hasn't been released. I don't know what details he knew that everyone else didn't. I don't know.
Well, that's that scares me that it's legit, but
I know.
I'll let you carry on.
Okay.
Oh, God.
The FBI started speculating that after abducting Nyleen, the kidnapper linked up with a woman accomplice because when you eliminate ransom and money isn't the motive, it must be to have your own child, and that tends to be more of a woman's desire. I find this speculation a little outdated. I mean, men can want a kid and do evil things to get one too. I don't know. But I mean, it was 1980s, so they just assumed a woman was involved.
Yeah. Need I remind you of my story in episode 2, Frank Floyd?
Sure. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Sure.
And that was almost around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late 70s.
Yeah. So I thought this was outdated, but there was a news story about a couple who were wanted for child abduction across the country. And when Nyleen's uncle saw the picture of them, he remembers seeing them at Nyleen's search party. And again, we all know these psychos love to return to the scene of the crime.
Oh my God, they like to put themselves in there and just search,
relive it, see what chaos they've created.
Ugh.
Either that or they went to a child search party to look for a child to abduct or something. I mean, sick. But again, nothing came from this. I cannot find one thing. I'm like, well, were they actually at the search party? That's really messed up. What was that? No, nothing. Couldn't find a damn thing about it.
All right.
So then in 1990, Unsolved Mysteries episode featured Nyleen with an age progression photo to show that what she would look like at the age of 12. And someone from British Columbia called and said that he thought Nyleen was a student at his school. Most sources say this was a classmate who called, and then a few sources say it was a teacher. I'm going to go with teacher because I can't imagine a 12-year-old would call in a tip like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, just so clarify. So apparently this little girl would commute from Port River, Washington every morning, which seems really weird to cross the border every morning for school. And it looked like Nyleen. So FBI put this girl on surveillance. And just like the other leads, this was not Nyleen.
Damn it.
But it was another missing girl who was abducted in 1982, Monica Bonilla. How weird.
What? So they like put it out there and everyone was like, no. Nyleen's family was like, that's not her.
No.
And someone else was like, wait.
FBI just put her on surveillance. I don't even know if the marshals at this point were aware that they were going to go to the lengths of like, oh, we're putting this girl on surveillance. We have a good feeling about this. There were just like a lot of red flags. Her father wouldn't give them contact information. The school had a little red flags in there. Why does she commute from the U.S. every day? It's weird. So this teacher just called in and was like, this girl looks like Nyleen. Maybe little Sarah, because she went by another name. It's not Monica. What if little Sarah is actually Nyleen? And the FBI put surveillance on her for weeks and found out that it was not Nyleen, but another missing girl.
Who had been missing for 8 years at this point?
Yep.
Oh.
Ready for a quick sad story?
Okay.
Monica Bonilla lived with her parents, Guillermo and Rosemary, in Burbank, California. They had a great marriage, but according to Rosemary, the death of John Lennon in 1980 flipped a switch in Guillermo, and his behavior radically changed. One day, he woke up and said that he thought John had reincarnated in him. After that, he did everything possible to look like him. He grew out his hair, his beard. He purchased clothing that John Lennon would wear. It's weird shit. And on September 22nd, 1982, Rosemary got home from work and was shocked to find her house completely empty. All their furniture and possessions were gone. Guillermo stripped their house of everything, including light fixtures. He also damaged things related to their wedding. And most importantly, he took Monica, then 5 years old. The next day, one of the relatives contacted Rosemary and told her that she would never see Monica again. 2 months later, a judge awarded Rosemary custody of Monica, but with her still being missing, it was virtually meaningless. So for 8 years, Monica thought her mom was dead and he wanted to change her name to start a new life. But just before Christmas in 1990, she was returned to her mom and everything was right with the world.
Because of this teacher thinking it was Nyleen?
Yep. And she's killing it now. She went to William and Mary. She's a doctor. I went to her LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And she is back as Monica?
Yeah.
What's her last name?
Bonilla.
Like vanilla with a B?
No, Bonilla.
Oh, okay. I want to find her. Oh my God.
How crazy is that? Some teacher was like, this looks like Nyleen. And it wasn't, but it was another missing girl.
Yeah. And they're just like, wait. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
And so the Marshalls were obviously disappointed it wasn't Nyleen, but thrilled that Nyleen's story helped another family's little happy ending. They're very happy about it. So in 1991, a man named Richard James Wilson turned himself into police in Livingston, Montana, claiming he murdered Nyleen and a woman from Great Falls. Police had the man lead them to both grave sites, but didn't find anything. Dug up everywhere. He's just a disturbed, very mentally ill man. And I'm not saying like, oh, he's a psycho. Like he was, I don't know how he was released from the institution, but he's very mentally ill. So just another sad dead end.
Yeah.
By 1994, the Marshalls were coping with the fact that this may never be solved, and Kim got a new job opportunity in Japan and relocated his family. The following year, he was going to be transferred to Mexico City, so Nancy went down there to house hunt, leaving Kim, Nathan, and Noreen in Japan to start packing things up, and they're going to come down a few days later. While they're in the airport, Kim got a call. Nancy had been murdered in her hotel room.
What?
This family cannot go through enough.
In Mexico City?
Yep.
Oh my God.
They found her hanging from a shower rod with her hands tied behind her back. She had been bruised and beaten. Her wedding ring was gone, her watch, and a bottle of perfume. The authorities initially listed her cause of death as a suicide, but it was very clearly not. Her door was kicked in. She was sexually assaulted.
Okay.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Kim was livid. He hired a PI and they changed her records to under investigation. And then the State Department advised him not to push in a murder investigation because it would prevent them from releasing Nancy's body for burial. So while he's pissed, Kim obliged, stating that he refused to let her body, quote, let her body rot in a Mexican morgue. So Nancy's body was released to the family and she's buried in Texas. So sad.
But
So
and that's it?
Nancy never knew what happened to Nyleen, but at least they're, well, potentially together. I actually think Nyleen's alive.
Oh, okay.
There was one other possible development. I think this is it.
Okay.
It happened 15 years after Nyleen's disappearance in the late 90s, I think 97. A man and a pregnant woman walked into a New Orleans hospital and were acting very strange. The 19-year-old woman called herself Helena. And when asked about her family history, she said she thought her mother's name may have been Nyleen, but she doesn't remember much of her childhood. She also said she grew up in another country but had no trace of an accent. When the staff further questioned personal details and medical history, the couple just abruptly left the hospital. She's in labor. They just left.
Oh my God.
A nurse knew all about Nyleen's case and immediately called authorities, who then notified the FBI. They were able to track down the couple, which that in itself, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Anyway, they were able to track down the couple who lived in Oklahoma City, and the woman agreed to give a DNA test, and nothing was ever confirmed on this. I mean, it's assumed it was not a match. They said they had to hunt down Nyleen's biological father to get his DNA now that Nancy's dead. And it took forever, but there was not one news source confirming or denying if it's DNA match. So it's assumed that it wasn't. But I'm like, well, then what happened? This, for some reason, this sticks with me. I'm like, it has to be. She says she thinks her real name's Helena. She doesn't remember theirs, but she thinks her mom's name is Nyleen too. I'm like, that is
How old would Nyleen have been in 1997?
19. This woman was 19. And if it's not Nyleen, what's going on with her? I hope they figured something. She's a victim of something, it seems.
Right, to up and leave when you're in labor because...
And to not remember your childhood and not remember your mom's name. Like, I'm like, no, something's up with that.
Yeah.
We need to dig into that.
Okay. That's it?
Yep.
Nothing came of that?
Nope. Nothing came from anything of this. Unless there's a lot of behind the scenes that they're just not releasing to the public because it's too sensitive and they're probably close to get, I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's been no trace of Nyleen, who would be 42 now. But I don't think we are done hearing about this, because I went to her Facebook group, found Nyleen Marshall, and in just 2018, there's a picture of a postcard with Nyleen's progression picture on it. And it says, handwritten, missing Nyleen Marshall. And the post says, businesses in Janesville, Indiana Ford, and Edgerton have received handwritten letters similar to this one, postmarked from Cincinnati. It has no return address. If you receive a similar letter or know anything, please call Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, blah, blah, blah. And the comments are like, oh, I got one that says she's working at a Walgreens in Janesville. And someone else, I got one that says she goes by Nicholas Marshall and lives in Cincinnati. And someone else, my letter says she lives in California. It's just all these twists and turns. I'm like, I I definitely think she's alive
Yeah.
and just doesn't know she was
like who
kidnapped.
she is.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, how old was she then? So she was
She was
5.
4.
4? Oh, yeah. And she just like has no idea.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
where? Sorry, I don't get the letters thing. Where are they all coming from? I see the Facebook post.
you do?
Yeah, okay.
I'll just read the post.
Well, there's, 60 comments. You want me to sit here and read them?
No. So the post,
businesses in
yeah.
Janesville, Indians Ford.
So that picture, I don't necessarily
Just
get.
randomly getting these letters?
Yeah. No,
Just like companies
no
in
return,
a small.
no return address, nothing. And that particular post, I guess, is all they had to post a picture of. I don't necessarily get that one because it's literally a picture. It looks like a postcard of her progression photo.
Yeah.
And it just says handwritten missing Nyleen Marshall.
Well, it's like an index card.
Yeah. So I don't get that. It's the comments. I'm like, oh, I got one, but the handwritten letter says, like, I'm working in Walgreens, Nyleen, or something. Like, it's like just weird shit.
But like they can't report it and be like, hey, I got this letter, and they just go check it out.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Oh.
They're just not posting to Facebook about it. So I feel like we're not done hearing about Nyleen. I think she's out there.
That is so insane.
Mm-hmm.
These posts. I mean, I think it's been like a year since anyone's said anything about it.
I know.
I think. That is.
It's crazy. Don't you think she's alive though? Like, I
Yeah.
like, no doubt. I think there's that woman in New Orleans. I'm like, I need to know more about her.
How many kids were at the dam with her when they saw the purple jumpsuit?
It was, well, the family was members of some club. It's like a garden club, and so it was tons of families. But the kids, I don't know, 2 girls said they saw him. A guy said he saw him. I think she was with 3 people who walked ahead of her.
Okay.
And yeah.
That's legit. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, these kids are not. Yeah, they're remembering correctly. You remember a purple jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And even actually, I think there's one source that said another girl came forward and said that she saw him behind the tree and he's told her to come here, and she turned around and walked away. So it was like very, like, that man took her. We know that.
Yeah. God, that's insane.
I know. And the fact that Monica Bonillo's case was solved because of it.
I know, that's crazy. That's what I want to look up next.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, poor Nyleen.
I know.
And Nancy.
God,
Good
Nancy. Jesus.
God.
The life you had, girl. Poor thing. And siblings. God bless.
Just everyone.
Everyone involved. Was it a good one?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sad.
Very sad.
Photo progression. I wonder how accurate they are. Because, like, there's no way they would get me right. I was fat as a kid.
Sure they will. No, that doesn't matter. They figure all that out.
No.
And you have an identical twin.
I was chunky.
So
and I'm like,
she looks like me.
I'm really good looking now. So I don't know how the computer would do it.
They figure it out.
Yeah.
Wait, Noreen is her sister?
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple Nyleen Marshalls on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God, I'm going to go in a rabbit hole now.
Good. You should. Everyone should bring light to Nyleen's case.
That's so crazy, though. I would hope someone in those areas listed on that Facebook post with the letters being sent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. The letters are being posed as from Nyleen.
I think so. That's what I'm gathering.
I'm just, if someone were to hear that and be like, thinking back, yeah, my childhood was weird, or I don't really remember it, or they would be like, let me just like submit DNA just in case. Yeah.
But I don't know if they're being sent as Nyleen, because I don't know if that's the case. I don't really get it from that post and those comments, because it's one girl says, my letter says she's working at a Walgreens in Janesville or whatever. So I'm like, is she saying like I work at I don't know. That's what I gathered. But then I'm like, the progression photo that they're using is the 12-year-old photo.
Right.
Like if it were Nyleen, she would snap a self or somehow get a picture of her current self and be like, no, I'm alive, help, or something. Or just call out, I don't know. So those seem like a sick fuck or something, or someone who actually knows someone or knows something, I mean.
Yeah.
And just doesn't want to, I don't know. People are weird.
Yeah, people love to try to get attention and like have profile cases when they don't have anything to do with it. So
yeah.
I'm like kind of writing that off to that.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest thing for me, the most believable for some reason, is the New Orleans thing. I'm like, that had to have been her. Y'all tracked down the wrong person, FBI.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's crazy.
It's crazy to me. So, yeah, a lot of false hope for the poor Marshalls.
For real. And I'm glad Monica's case was solved.
Yeah, that was the good that came out of it. That was like, just so crazy to me. I was like, I have to just make an episode about it.
Yeah.
Because I did a little blurb about this in episode 2, and then I went back to our editor and I said, wait, remove that little blurb because that's shocking and I'm going to do a full episode on it.
I know. I didn't know that was what you were doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was this until you said Monica's case was solved. I was like, oh yeah, you did mention this.
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay. No, you killed it.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Oh my God. My next one's so good.
I know. You always end with that. It's so annoying. Got it.
A little foreshadowing for you.
Okay, great. All right. Remember, people are the worst and y'all are the best.
Truth.
All right. See ya.